If you've been around my channel, you know I'm addicted to desk buddies, and I was sitting around daydreaming one day thinking, I need to make this. And this is what I needed to make, a kitty pencil topper. Kitty pencil topper is worked up in worsted weight yarn. I used the skinny Chenille from Loops and Threads, and we're just using a little bit of stuffing and some eyes. We're going to go through all the supplies and then we're going to get crocheting together. And if you're new here, I'm Katie from Yarn Society. You can grab all these patterns free on my website at yarnsociety.com. So don't forget to check that out, and we're going to get started. Before we start crocheting, I want to talk to you about round 1 through 6. There are 3 different ways that you can approach this, and I'm going to talk you through them. But the first way we're going to do together, we're just going to work on the wrong side. The second way is you can work round 1 through 4 the right way with the stitches facing you, and then you can flip them inside out once you get to round 4. And I'll show you here. You can just use the pencil to just flip this inside out, and you know it'll be inside out if you see the little string from your magic circle. The third option that you can do is crochet round 1 through 6 the right way, and then flip that out to be inside out. That way is a little bit tougher because it is harder to flip even by using a pencil, but you guys can choose. We're going to do option 1 together. You can do option 2 by crocheting 1 through 4 the right way, flipping it, and then continuing with round 5 and 6. Or you can crochet round 1 through 6 and then flip it inside out once you get to round 6. So the option is up to you. This is considered our post. We want this to be the wrong stitches facing us. And then as we continue on with round 7, we're going to kind of build up and over our post. I hope that didn't confuse you more. We're going to get started with the pattern now. Okay, we're going to grab our hook and our yarn. We're going to make 6 single crochet into a magic circle. So you can do that however you'd like. I am going to make a slip knot. Then I am going to chain 2. And then I'm going to place my 6 single crochet in that second chain from the hook. So I'm going to make my 6 single crochet here. This is like the easiest way for me to do it. So if you ever are struggling with a magic circle, try this way. I'm going to tighten up my magic circle, and then I'm going to grab a stitch marker. I like to place my stitch marker on the last stitch of the round, but feel free to place it on the first if that's what you're used to. For round 2 through 6, we are going to be making a single crochet in each stitch around. Here is my little bit from my slip knot. So I'm going to go under my first stitch here and make a single crochet. So we're making 6 total. So here is 1. Then we're going to make 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when you work in these little rounds, the work tends to turn in on itself, so naturally our work is going to be the wrong way, which is what we want anyway, but it could be hard for some people to work with this inside out, so that's why I gave the options. So for round 3, we are going to just single crochet in the next 6. So even for me, I have to slow down and really find my stitches. So this is single crochet 2, this is 3, 4, here's 5, and 6. I'm going to change my stitch marker. This is round 4. We're still making a single crochet in each stitch around. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if you're doing option 2, go ahead and flip your work out right now, and then you would just continue on with round 5 and round 6. Here's our round 5. We're going to single crochet all the way around for 6 stitches. Just make sure you slow it down and find your stitch. Okay, at the end of round 5, we're going to change our stitch marker. We still have 6 stitches. And then here is our last round, round 6. Single crochet in each stitch around for 6. Okay, we're at the end of round 6. If you ended up turning your work the right way, go ahead and turn it out now. For round 7, we are going to increase, that's 2 single crochet in each stitch around. So I'm going to place my hook under my first stitch, and we're going to make 2 single crochet. Here's 1. Go under that same stitch again, single crochet 2. I'm going to move over to my next stitch. You really have to find it here. We're going to single crochet 2 times in that same stitch. Move over. This is our 3rd stitch. We're going to make 2 single crochet into the same stitch. Here is stitch 4. I really have to pull these apart, and my stitch marker is just really getting in the way here. Here's 2 single crochet in the same stitch. Move over. Here's stitch 5. It gets easier as soon as we're done with this round. This is the trickiest part, and then you're good. And then our last stitch, this is stitch 6, we're going to make 2 single crochet. So through the pattern, I'm going to be calling this an increase. Okay, we're at the end of round 7. We're going to change our stitch marker. We have 12 stitches. From this point forward, I swear it's going to be easier because now we can kind of see our stitches better. So this really quick will be our post, and then we're going to build up over our post. Okay. For round 8, we are going to make a single crochet increase in that first stitch, and then we're going to make a single crochet in the next, and we'll repeat that all the way around. I'm going to place my hook under the first stitch, and we're going to make an increase. I'm going to move over for a single crochet. Then we're going to repeat the sequence. I have an increase. Then we'll move over for a single crochet. We have another increase. 2 single crochet in the same stitch. Move over for a single crochet. Here we have an increase. Single crochet. Increase. Single crochet, and then our last sequence we have our increase, and with a single crochet. At the end of round 8, we're going to have 18 stitches. I'm going to change my stitch marker. For round 9, we're going to continue our increases. We're going to increase in that first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 2, and we'll repeat the sequence. So here is our increase. Single crochet in each of the next 2. Here's 1. Move over, single crochet 2. Here's another increase. Single crochet in each of the next 2. Here's 1. Move over 2. Another increase. Feel free to mute me. Single crochet 1 and 2. We have another increase. Single crochet in each of the next 2. Here's 1 and 2. We have another increase. Single crochet in the next 2. And then we have our last increase. Single crochet in the last 2 stitches. At the end of round 9, we have 24 stitches. For round 10, we are going to single crochet into that back loop only for the next 24. So you can just go into your back loop and single crochet all the way around. Thank you guys for joining me today. It's been a while since I put a video up. I did put a new pattern up It's the frog jewelry holder, and I meant to do the video first, but then I got so excited about this pencil holder that I totally pushed it to the side. So I will be getting that up soon. But I did also make a frog pencil holder, and you know I get obsessed with like my pocket pals, and then it was my desk buddies, and then it was my jewelry holder. So I need to get everything up for you guys so you have it. And I will be doing that now that school is starting. Thank heavens. We're at the end of round 10. We still have 24 stitches. For round 11, we're just going to single crochet in the next 24 stitches. So go ahead and just single crochet all the way around. You guys will have to let me know what you've been up to this summer. Has anyone been to any cool yarn stores? That's kind of what I'm interested in. I remember going to Santa Barbara once, and they had a really cute yarn store. I do notice, though, that they tend to kind of sway more towards knitters, but I feel like they're kind of embracing us crocheters a little bit more. So you have to let me know in the comments if you visited any cool yarn shops anywhere. Let me know. It's to put on my bucket list. Okay, we're at the end of round 11. We have 24 stitches. For round 12, we're going to increase in that first stitch, and then we're going to single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Here is an increase. We're going to single crochet in each of the next 3. Here is 1, here's 2, and here's 3. We're going to make another increase, single crochet in each of the next 3. Here's another increase, single crochet in each of the next 3. Here's another increase, single crochet in the next 3. Increase, single crochet in the next 3. And then we have our last increase, single crochet in the last 3 stitches. At the end of round 12, we have 30 stitches. So this is how we're looking so far. It's kind of funny. We're going to change our stitch marker. For round 13, we're going to single crochet around our 30 stitches. So just single crochet all the way around. So as we're approaching fall, I feel like this is the Crocheter Super Bowl, not just the football Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys are starting just to do fall stuff, blankets, beanies, like whatever, or if you're maybe already starting your Christmas stuff. Last year, I did the Christmas in July, so if you're looking for ornaments and things, I do have a ton of different kind of trees, a wreath, a bell. That was pretty popular. I have all those videos, so just go ahead and look for those if you're looking for quicker ornament options. I even have a Santa and an elf gift card holder, which is pretty quick. So browse that, browse my website and see if anything stands out to you, because I do have quite a few things. The end of round 13, we have 30 stitches. I just want to show you here, if you're kind of confused about counting, if you look right after this ridge, this is round 10, and then we have 11, 12, 13. Now moving on to round 14, we are going to be doing an invisible decrease and then single crocheting into the next 3 stitches. If you don't know how to do the decrease, I will go slow. So we're going to go under the front loop of the first loop, the front loop of the second, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through. Now we're going to single crochet in each of the next 3. And then we'll make another invisible decrease, go under the front loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Then we have another decrease, single crochet in the next 3, decrease, single crochet in the next 3, decrease, single crochet in the next 3, and then our last decrease, single crochet in the next 3. For round 15, we are going to single crochet around 24, just single crochet all the way around. You'll have to give me some suggestions for these pencil toppers. I'm going to make a kitty, frog, have that done. I want to work on a bunny because I'm obsessed. Dog, of course. And then from there, I'm not really sure. Working from the bottom up is a little tricky to do the no-sew for the ears, but I'm going to try to figure it out. So if you have any suggestions, let me know and I'll try my best. Some designs just don't work in my brain. So some people that can just work up anything, they're just amazing in my eyes because sometimes I can't work that way. At the end of round 15, we're going to have 24 stitches. You can change your stitch marker. From here, we're going to be working on the ears. So what I like to do or I suggest is that you mark the back loops only of stitch 11 and stitch 16. You don't have to do this, but you can always look and see where my placement is and see if this is something you'd like to do. I'm going to mark the back loop of stitch 11, and then I'm going to count and find stitch 16. This is just helpful for the next 2 rounds, and then we can get rid of the stitch markers. For round 16, I do use stitch markers for the first and last stitch of the ear. This is completely optional. If you've crocheted a bunch of my patterns, you kind of know what I'm doing here already, so you don't need to use the stitch markers. I'm going to use them just to show you. And if you're just starting out crocheting, I do recommend using something if you don't have stitch markers to use like a bobby pin or something just to keep your place. It will help your sanity and it'll just make things a bit easier. Around 16, we're going to get started by single crocheting in the next 10 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So to make the ear, we're going to work in the front loop only. We're going to make a single crochet, half double crochet, chain 1, and make another single crochet, all in the same front loop. I'm going to start by going under that front loop. I'm going to make a single crochet, and then I'm going to pause and mark this. I'm going to go on with my half double crochet under the same front loop. Then I'm going to chain 1 and make another single crochet under the same front loop. I'm going to pause here and just mark this stitch. We're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So we have 4 here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we're going to make the ear in that front loop again. So I have a single crochet under the front loop. I'm going to mark it. I'm going to do a half double crochet under the same front loop, chain 1, and make another single crochet in the same front loop, and then I'm going to pause to mark it. I'm going to single crochet in the last 8 stitches. At the end of round 16, we're going to have 24 stitches. We're just counting the back loops. We're not counting those stitches in the pink stitch marker. So we're going to count the blue, not the pink. And that would total 24 stitches. For round 17, we're going to make a decrease, single crochet in the next 2, and we're going to do that twice. So here is our first decrease. Single crochet in each of the next 2. Here's 1 and 2. We're going to make another decrease. Single crochet in the next 2. And then we're going to make a decrease in these next 2 stitches. We're going to ignore the ear stitches and go into that back loop that we marked. So this is going to be a single crochet. Then we're going to move over to the stitch next to the stitch marker and make a single crochet. So this is why marking them makes things just a little bit easier. There's no guessing of which stitch. Now we're going to make a decrease. We're going to make a single crochet in the next stitch. Make a single crochet into that back loop that we marked. We're going to ignore all the stitches in the pink. Then we're going to move over to the stitch next to our stitch marker and we're going to make a decrease. So we have to, feels a little awkward, but you just get that hook over into the next stitch. So we're going to make a decrease. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Here's 1 and 2. And then we're going to make another decrease. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches. At the end of round 17, we have 18 stitches. We can change our stitch marker. So if you did place those stitch markers, this is how it's going to look. We can take these out. And then here are our little ears. I'm just going to kind of straighten them, fix them. And this is where we are so far. Before we continue crocheting, I'm just going to grab a stitch marker and put it on my working yarn because we're going to do a few things first. We're going to place the eyes, we're going to embroider the nose, and then the whiskers. We are going to grab our 9mm safety eyes, and we're going to place those between round 13 and round 14. We know that after the little ridge here, we know that that's round 10. So we have 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, and I'm just going to kind of find the middle here. I'm just going to place a pin just to keep my spot. And then I want to leave 4 stitches open in between the eyes. So I try to center the eyes underneath the ears, leaving 4 stitches open. So here my eyes look pretty good. They're underneath the ears. And now I'm going to place the backings on now. Usually I wait, but I'm just going to do it before I embroider anything on. You can just wiggle your backings on. And now we're going to place the little nose first. You can grab a piece of embroidery floss. You can grab whatever color you'd like. I just have black. And I did place a few knots at the end of my floss. We are going to go on the inside of our work and we're going to make a little knot. So I like to go about the spot that I'm going to get started. I'm going to grab a stitch on the inside of the head. It doesn't matter which one, just grab any stitch. Pull it all the way through to your knot. And then I'm going to go under that stitch again or a stitch nearby. Pull it through until you get a loop. And then you'll go behind the loop with your needle. And that will just make a little knot. I'm going to go in between my eyes. I'm going to find the center stitch between round 13 and 14. And then I like to move down about a round and a half. So I'm going to go in the middle of this round here. I'm going to pull that through. And then I'm going to move over and go right into the stitch next to the eye. And then I'm going to pull that over to the other end and go into the stitch next to the other eye. So that is our simple little nose. Now I'm going to make the whiskers, and I like to start right in the corner of the eye. So I'm going to go through. Don't go through your post to make sure that your post is out of the way. I'm going to go through that corner stitch. Then I like to go up around and over a stitch. And I'm going to go in there. Then I'm going to go through that first initial stitch that I made. And then I'm just going to move over on the same round of stitch. Go back through that first initial stitch that you made. And then I like to go down a round and over a stitch. That is whisker 1 done. Just going to go and do the same exact thing on the other side. We're going to make a knot on the inside by grabbing a piece, pulling it through to the loop, and then go through the loop. And then you can make one more knot just to secure it. I usually like to make 2. Okay, so there's our face. Our whiskers are done. You can do some adjusting as you need it. And then we're going to grab a pencil or a pen or just even an extra crochet hook. And from here, we're going to add a little bit of stuffing. I like to put the pencil in so that I have control of the middle so I can stuff all the way around it. So just start with small bits and just make sure that your post is centered and just fill it all the way around it. Okay, this is how we're looking so far. We have another chance to stuff, so if you want to add a little bit more later, you can totally do that. We have 2 more rounds to go, and then we are finished. Okay, we're going to take out that extra stitch marker that we have holding our work. For round 18, we are going to decrease and make a single crochet and repeat that sequence. Here is our first decrease. Move over for a single crochet. Decrease. Single crochet. We have another decrease. Single crochet. And a decrease. Single crochet. Decrease. Single crochet. And then our last decrease. End with a single crochet. At the end of round 18, we're going to have 12 stitches. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more stuffing here. Okay, I think I'm good with that. I am going to change my stitch marker. And then onto our last round. This is round 19. We are going to make 6 decreases. So we are going to decrease all the way around. Here is decrease 1. And the stuffing does get a little bit stuck, so you can just use your finger to get it down. This is 2. 3. 4. 5. And I'm going to take my stitch marker out. It's getting tricky. And here's 6. From here, we're going to leave a long tail because we want to close our little hole. I'm going to fasten off by yarning over and pulling that through. And I just like to give it a little tug at the end. Go ahead and grab a yarn needle. Now you can close this up however you like. I'll just show you how I like to do it. I'm just going to find my 6 stitches first. Here's my fastened off piece. And then I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to go under that front loop of the next 6 stitches. So here's my first stitch. Go under the front loop. This is 2. Under the front loop 3. Here is 4. Under the front loop 5. And then under the front loop 6. I'm going to keep an eye on this little hole here, and then I'm going to close this up. And then I'm going to place my needle in that spot where my little hole was, and I'm going to pull it through. Then I'm going to give it a good tug. Don't go too tight. You don't want your yarn to break, but just enough to pull that in. And that's what our top will look like. So I'm just going to weave in this yarn a little bit. And then we will cut off the extra piece. And that's it. That's our kitty pencil topper. Then get your trusty pencil. You can figure out the ears a little bit and mess with the eyes and the whiskers and the nose if you need to. But you are done. And isn't that so fun? I know it's a little later from the kids going to school, but how fun for them to have for homework, maybe just to make it a little bit easier because homework stinks. I know my daughter tells me all the time. But here's a few of the kitty pencil toppers. And of course, you can always look at my desk buddies. Those are also really fun and they can hold your new friends. So thank you guys for joining me and crocheting along with me. Let me know who you're making one for and what color you used. And don't forget to go to yarnsociety.com for all my free crochet patterns. I'll see you guys in the next video.